The habit loop simplified. Most lives are not changed by one dramatic decision or destroyed by one major mistake. They are shaped quietly, almost invisibly, by small daily habits repeated over time. The things you do without thinking, the choices you make automatically, the routines you fall into when no one is watching. These small behaviors don't feel powerful in the moment, but over time, they determine direction. Not because they are extreme, but because they are consistent. This is why people are often confused by their outcomes. They didn't choose failure deliberately. They didn't consciously sabotage their growth. They simply repeated small habits long enough for those habits to become their life. Change didn't happen suddenly. It happened silently. To understand why habits have this kind of power, we need to simplify how habits actually work. Not in theory, but in real life. Because habits are not mysterious. They follow a pattern, and once you understand that pattern, you can stop fighting your habits and start shaping them. This is exactly what Atomic Habits by James Clear explains. Rather than focusing on motivation, willpower, or big breakthroughs, the book focuses on systems, identity, and consistency. James Clear breaks habits down into a simple loop that explains why habits form, why they stick, and why they are so hard to break. When you understand this loop, behavior change becomes practical instead of emotional. James Clear explains that every habit follows 4 basic steps: cue, craving, response, and reward. This is known as the habit loop. It's not complicated, but it is powerful. And once you see it, you'll recognize it everywhere in your life. The first step is the cue. A cue is anything that triggers your brain to initiate a behavior. It could be a time of day, a location, an emotional state, or the presence of certain people. For example, waking up in the morning is a cue. Feeling stressed is a cue. Sitting on your couch at night is a cue. The cue doesn't force you to act, but it signals that a habit is about to begin. The second step is craving. The craving is the desire that follows the cue. You're not craving the habit itself. You're craving the change in state the habit provides. You don't crave scrolling your phone. You crave distraction or relief. You don't crave junk food. You crave comfort or pleasure. Craving is what gives the habit emotional power. The third step is the response. This is the actual behavior you perform, the action, the habit itself. Whether or not the response happens depends on how easy the behavior is. If it requires too much effort, you won't do it. This is why convenience plays such a huge role in habit formation. The final step is the reward. The reward satisfies the craving. It teaches your brain that this behavior is worth remembering. Rewards close the habit loop. If a behavior doesn't produce a reward, it doesn't become a habit. Over time, your brain begins to associate the cue with the reward and skips straight to the craving. This loop explains why habits feel automatic. You don't decide consciously every time. Your brain recognizes the cue, anticipates the reward, and pushes you toward the response. The loop runs in the background. Now here's where things get dangerous and powerful. Small habits compound over time. One run through the habit loop doesn't change your life, but thousands of repetitions do. The habit loop becomes the engine behind compounding behavior. James Clear explains that habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Just as money grows through consistent investment, habits grow through repetition. Small habits don't feel impactful because their effects are delayed. But over time, the results become obvious. This is why James Clear says, "You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." Goals are intentions. Systems are habit loops repeated daily. Your life doesn't reflect what you want, it reflects what your habit loops reinforce. This is also why habits are closely tied to identity. Every time you complete a habit loop, you cast a vote for the type of person you believe you are. When you wake up and check your phone immediately, you reinforce the identity of distraction. When you read consistently, you reinforce the identity of a learner. When you exercise regularly, you reinforce the identity of someone who values health. James Clear explains that no single habit defines you, but repeated habits shape identity. Identity is simply the story your habits tell about you. And once identity forms, it feeds back into the habit loop. You act in ways that align with who you believe you are. This is why habits are so hard to change. You're not just changing behavior, you're challenging identity. When a habit feels like who you are, breaking it feels uncomfortable. That discomfort isn't a sign you're failing, it's a sign you're changing. Let's look at a simple, real-life example. Imagine someone who wants to become more productive. The cue might be sitting at their desk. The craving might be avoiding discomfort. The response might be checking social media. The reward is temporary relief. Over time, this loop becomes automatic. The system reinforces distraction. Now imagine changing just one part of the loop. The cue stays the same, sitting at the desk. But the environment changes. The phone is placed in another room. The response becomes opening a notebook instead. The reward becomes progress. Slowly, a new loop forms. A new system begins to operate. This is the key insight. You don't need to fight habits with willpower. You need to redesign the habit loop. Change the cue. Make the response easier. Make the reward satisfying. Systems win where motivation fails. James Clear emphasizes that the most effective way to change habits is to make good habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying, and bad habits invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. These principles map directly onto the habit loop. Now let's talk about practical application. Here's one simple daily action you can apply immediately. Choose one habit you want to build and write down its 4 parts. The cue, the craving, the response, and the reward. Don't judge it, just observe it. Awareness alone weakens bad habits and strengthens good ones. Then make one small adjustment. Reduce friction for the habit you want. Increase friction for the habit you want to stop. Small changes to the loop create massive results over time. Before we conclude, pause and reflect on this question honestly. What habit loop is currently shaping your life the most, and is it producing the identity you want or the one you tolerate? If this message is helping you understand yourself more clearly, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to the channel if you want thoughtful growth content every day. Small actions matter here too. Real change doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from understanding how habits actually work. Once you understand the loop, you stop blaming yourself and start designing your life intentionally. So once again, if you value calm, practical insights that help you grow intentionally, like this video, share it, and subscribe to 1% Better Daily so you don't miss the next lesson. This is 1% better daily. Read less, apply more, grow daily.